Hey guys, so welcome to obviously episode 5, which is banking, brokerage and custody. And obviously you're going to learn quite some interesting stuff as we go into this hedge fund series of setting up a Cayman hedge fund, open-ended mutual fund, XYZ or something similar. Obviously you're going to be learning a lot of information in this video, especially at the end of it. So these pillars don't just enable trades and asset management, they determine whether your fund is, essentially operationally credible, bankable, compliant with global financial regulations. So again, we've got to be opening a fund bank account as well as the BVI fund manager account as well. Usually we have this all under one banking group. Typically we use EMIs in London, Luxembourg, or traditional banking mechanisms over in Cyprus for our banking partners. But again, we have over 70 banking partners, and if you did go ahead and need a bank account, then you can go ahead and get in contact, book a meeting with me below, or simply just drop me an email, explain the situation. Stephen, our banking specialist, will send over the application form for a little bit of a brief overview. If an NDA needs to be signed, obviously we can go ahead and do that. But back to opening the fund bank account. Okay, the first step is choosing the right jurisdiction. This might be correlated with where your investor base is, okay, whether it's an institutional investor or high net worth individual group of investors, which may be in a mutual friendship group, or you've got a certain network that's heavily invested within your fund. Maybe that's in New York. Maybe it's good to have a Citigroup bank in New York, or JP, XYZ, something like this, okay. Additionally, you can obviously also look at where the bank is located in terms of your foreign currency exposure. Obviously, myself, I actually get paid from FX fees from banks and from these banking introductions, which I do. That's most of my business model. Again, you don't want obscene FX fees. You don't mind paying a little bit. That's a fair fee, but you don't want stupid FX fees. So obviously, you want to have the jurisdiction perfect there. And then additionally speaking, your risk profile, again, which is kind of, it's generally just between the traditional mutual fund sense or the alternative assets kind of space. And obviously this is going to come up in the PPM document XYZ that we spoke about in prior videos. So Cayman Banks essentially is a neutral choice for local alignment, but many fund managers prefer Swiss, Luxembourg, EU, London, for example, for better multi-currency support and investor perception as well. Maybe that's like a USJP, but maybe European investors don't want that, or maybe it's UAE investors want a local Royal Family Bank over there, but Liechtenstein's a nice overall one. There's lots of trust. Maybe you need additional bank accounts for obviously those investors based in the UAE or North America, South America, XYZ. Choosing a brokerage partner is another very important point, and obviously a topic of this video that you do need to focus on. So brokerage really depends on your select-based asset class and strategy. Obviously, the leverage. And obviously, you'll be looking at for anything above 5-10 million, you're obviously looking at a very sophisticated prime broker to be holding, the account for you right there. And obviously, that is the client custodial wallets essentially. And that is, you got to be looking at considering custody margin and execution services essentially, and how it all operates on an ecosystem. Very well connected, efficient system that works very good from the investor perspective, your perspective, and also the compliance perspective as well. So then the fund admin and the audit team and the MLROs, as well as the other compliance roles that we provide, all align and line up there for the compliance XYZ. So the role of the custodian is something, that's very interesting. So going back to the bank account, sorry, just skipped over a little bit too quickly there. Basically what you'll need in the KYC pack, which obviously is very specialized for FIs, which is funds and institutions. You would be a category in setting up a bank account. And the private placement, the PPM, sorry, the short form version of the document. For PPM, a detailed structural chart, IDs, and proof of addresses for all directors, UBOs, officers, potentially CVs as well. All of these potentially might need to be notarized, not obviously the CVs. And proof of source of funds, XYZ. So delays obviously happen very often in the space. That's why we're here to keep things streamlined, efficient. So when you're in the loop with all of the regulators, firms, and parties, there's about 7 parties involved in setting up one of these funds. It's not all in-house. Again, there's a lot of different work to be done. So going back to the, then going backwards, regarding the brokerage. The thing is, it really depends on your strategy as well. Obviously, for fees, you have to look into brokers. Maybe you got a prime broker you've got your eyes on and you've already heard about and you've been referred them. or maybe you're open to do some research. Obviously, if you are open to do some research, what you can do, you can go ahead and in the link down below is a Zoom meeting. We can have a private chat one-on-one to really realize your own personal objectives, your risk profile, to give you just vaguely a few options. Maybe it's MSB in Monaco, for example, with a corporate account buyer's potential. If you've got maybe $60 assets, very small fund. If you've got $60 million assets under management, potentially MSBs are happily to house your personal corporate, BVI corporate, and other enterprises you might own as well, and put it all in-house to actually remove those internal FX fees and have things very streamlined and organized. If you do believe in the Monaco financial system, which I think is probably quite a good financial system. So custodians hold the assets of the fund on behalf of your investors. They're critical for ensuring segregation of client funds from operational capital, providing daily reconciliations and reducing operational risk and fraud exposure. So for many funds, especially when targeting the institutional level investors and ultra net worth, high net worth individuals, a custodian is not optional, it is expected. That is completely true, and you need to obviously keep that in your mind. So obviously incorporate that into your prime broker XYZ to streamline and make things effective within your fund administration as an operation. Some brokerage firms obviously do offer integrated custodial services, which I've just kind of recommended. These are the ones which I recommend going for. Other ones don't. You can have obviously a third party one, XYZ. It really that depends on the chat, and that's why I said do go ahead, book a meeting with me below, and we can chat about this XYZ. So moving on to AML and transaction monitoring, every fund is expected to have robust AML systems in place, and your bank, broker, and admin will ask about all of them. So typically speaking, the fund administrator will actually, let's say, monitor investor subscriptions and those redemptions. The broker monitors the transactional activity, essentially, and then the fund is responsible for reporting to FATCA, FATCA, and the CRS either directly or via the fund admin. In my case, usually how I set up the funds for clients is the fund admin is all included with this. You don't need to worry one bit. It's all done for you. So obviously all of this might seem complicated, but that's what I use us. We simply charge a 7, 10, 15K professional fee. We obviously charge a small professional fee, and obviously that's to make things all perfect for you. So again, if you're running an offshore structure, which generally is what we generally type to set up, you'll need a compliance officer, a system for ongoing transaction monitoring, which is then provided typically through us, through the fund administration, and the process for PEP screening and sanction checks. Again, we also provide all the KYC onboarding, interface integration, and white label solution for you too. Using third-party, obviously, AML tech providers, again, is basically the way forward. We could do this all in-house, but I don't. Why would I put myself through that stress? You want something that works for you, and obviously you want to use those companies which are highly reputable. I've done this 1,000 times, and obviously we have those great connections with those countries. Now, the common pitfalls and solutions, generally speaking, super common: banking delays, crypto exposure could cause banking issues again, strategy mismatching and missing documents, or mismatching old documents with new ones. Say, for example, with draft 2 of PPM, you accidentally upload that instead of the final draft. So that's essentially it, guys. You've learned a lot in this video. It's kind of all coming together, how it works, and now we're actually going into the final stages. There's now 3 more videos after this, maybe 4 to finish it off. So hopefully you're getting some great value. And again, please like and subscribe and leave some comments down below. But yeah, guys, I'll see you in episode 6. Have a good one.